Hello, my name is Dave Epperson, and I'm just going to blow through how to quickly add an application into Swimage. Now, the demonstration that I'm going to do today is adding a driver into Swimage as an application. Let's say you have a driver that's not necessarily vital to Windows working, but it still comes up with that, you have new hardware, would you like to add it prompt every time you log in, and you're really annoying. So what we're going to do is we're just going to manually install it after Windows is installed. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a directory just for the application, which you can see here I've already done. Went ahead and just called the directory just driver. We have the install.cmd, which would have all of the commands that you would need. It would, call the setup.exe file and then put all the switches in it that you would need to install the driver silently. And then we have the actual setup.exe here itself. Now, as you can see, these are both dummy files. I'm just doing them for demonstration purposes. So once you have that done, you would go ahead and just go to your Swimage console, and you would access the Manage Application screen. And to do that, you would just say Applications, and then go to Manage, pull up this screen, and then from here, we're just going to say New Swimage Package. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to call it Driver. Manufacturer is going to be Intrinsic, version 1.0. And then in the description, I'm just going to say manually installs driver for Windows after Windows installed. Okay. Then because this is a driver, I'm going to click Stage. Now what that basically means is it's going to copy whatever application you're creating locally to the machine and then run it. There are a couple of programs that require this. Like driver, you wouldn't want to install them across the network, especially if they're small. The Adobe Flash, some of the newer versions of Adobe Flash, if you don't stage them correctly, then they don't install correctly. So once you have that done, you click Browse, you select a file in the directory, and what that does is pretty much everything here, it says C source driver, so it's going to copy this entire, the parent folder of the file that you select. So we click OK. It's going to copy the package to Swimage. And then if we go to the last page, we see here that we have the driver package. The next thing you have to do after this is say Programs. After you select the row, you click on the Programs tab. You say New Program. Now what this does is you have the package source, but you don't have the file or the instructions that tells Swimage how to execute that source. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say install driver, and for the command line we're just going to do install.cmd, and then in the install.cmd folder file, you just include all of the instructions for Swimage to run, and then since this is a driver, we're just going to set it at rank 1, so that it's one of the very first things that installs. And then, since it's a driver, we're going to say reboot required. And what that means is once the driver is installed, they'll go ahead and reboot. That way, if the driver that you're installing does require a reboot, or the package you're installing requires a reboot, then OK, and our package is completed. If we refresh the screen, it shows here that the install.driver is right here. Then what we do is we go to Templates and create a new template, or we can modify one of the existing templates if we want. Just go to our apps for XP, open this up, and then we go to the Applications tab, and we just make sure that that is checked. Okay. Now, since this is a driver, we're not going to want to add it to the global template for XP. We're only going to want to install it on this one system. So what I'm going to do for the purposes of this application is I'm actually going to create a new template just for this driver, and then even go as far as creating a new role specifically for this hardware model. So I'm going to go ahead and say Dell 7010 driver, change this to a computer scope. And then in the applications, I'm just going to add this one item. OK. OK, and then I'm going to create a new role. I'm going to call it Deploy Windows XP 7010. And that way all of my technicians know that if they are deploying Windows to this particular model, they're going to want to select this role specifically for that model. Okay. So then you can see here in the bottom, our future state preview shows that we have all of the information. We have, our state, and then all of our applications are included, including this driver. And it even shows that the Dell 7010 driver template is what's adding this, okay? So, and then that's it. You're done. You can go ahead and verify in the role screen, and it'll come up with the future state preview and show you everything here. Check the application, it shows the exact same data. And that is how you create an application or driver package in Swimage that needs to be manually installed after Windows is installed. Now, granted, this is not the best practice way to install a driver with Swimage. The best practice way is going to be to use the driver interrogator, and I'll include a link in the description of this video that would tell you how to import drivers into Swimage using the best practices. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at encoresupport@intrinsic.net. Thank you very much for watching.